Hello Runescape, Wilmust here with a new video on how is everyone doing. So, yesterday, I believe very recently, the Runescape Bonds was released into the game, which is a massive game-changing kind of update, mainly because of that it will take an effect towards gold farming, and it also is the introduction of something that's very sensitive, and that should not be misunderstood whatsoever, which is Jagex. Introducing a form of gold selling in the game. Now, the reason for the bonds being released is because of the gold farmers and kind of an attempt to take those away as much as possible from the game. And I'll get into that very shortly, but first of all, I'm going to tell you guys what the bond is if you're still kind of confused about what it actually does. And basically, a bond is something that you can either buy from a player, the Grand Exchange, or you can buy it for real life money on the Runescape website. And if you have a bond, you can either sell it onto another player, or you can cash it into 14 days of membership, or 8 spins, or 160 rune coins. And if you have enough of them, 35 I believe, you can also buy a Runefest ticket. And in the future, it will also be possible to donate one of these to charity, which will be pretty amazing. I'm pretty sure that people will kind of be doing kind of like charity giveaways and everything, kind of use these bonds, accept these bonds for various kind of services and give them to charity, which will be pretty awesome as well. A really good deed, and you kind of will be able to use your in-game money or real life money for that case on charity through RuneScape, which is of course very good. So basically, what the reason for this was released was because of the gold farming, to remove the gold farming. And how this works is it's a weird way, to be honest, because I'm gonna mention the three kind of the leading factors for gold farming at the moment. The first one, most known one, is bots in RuneScape, and this has now been tackled quite a lot. Like the last couple of months, RuneScape have been doing major steps in order to kill the bots, and it's been highly successful, to be honest. Like, a lot of the bots are completely gone for RuneScape. Personally, I haven't seen a bot in a very long time, but when I do, they're mostly gone the day after because they do get banned, and Jagex banned these. And I know that a lot of the kind of the top bot kind of people, or programs, or whatever you want to call them, have been eliminated, because when people log on to them, they get instantly banned because of the way it works and with bot-wise, and how it automatically just bans people. And I know that they make a lot of kind of lies, the bot people that is, to kind of say that, hey, that's not true and everything, because obviously they're not going to tell their customers and such that we're actually being defeated when they actually are being defeated. If you kind of want more, what can I say, kind of bot updates here and there, you should be following at Jagex with Twitter. He kind of updates kind of things and such on the his Twitter account. Like not too long ago, he kind of said that he was getting rid of some botting programs that was supposedly going to be untouchable, but it totally wasn't. So, you know, he gives really good details on that. So with that removed, that means that gold farming is no longer possible for the bots, because it just get put away, which means that the mass amount of resources they collect won't be put into the economy, which will make the prices go back up to a kind of better kind of state. But unfortunately, a lot of money are still in the game, which I'm gonna get back to that very soon. The other factor is player security, because gold farmers hack the people accounts, hack credit cards and everything to get into accounts, to get money and everything, to get members and such, so they have some kind of profit on that. And they hack players, take their money and sell them to other players who will buy for it, and that's not good at all. And Jag, the introduction of Jag, which is the kind of new security kind of thing, removed a lot of that as well. Not everything, not at all everything at all, but it removed a lot of it. A lot of players can now play RuneScape safely because of Jag, which is really good. Another thing, which is the last kind of thing I want to mention, which bonds will most likely fix, is rich players and other players selling their wealth to gold farmers because they either have too much or because they're quitting RuneScape for whatever reason. And very good people will now have the chance to change this. For example, let's say that a super rich player from gambling or whatever reason they have a lot of money for, decides that, hey, I have too much money and I want to get rid of it. They, instead of selling this to gold farmers, they can now get unlimited days of membership for themselves. If they have enough for that, if they buy bonds, they can donate some of it to charity, which is very good. They can buy themselves a Runefest ticket, which is also pretty good. Or they can just buy themselves a cosmetics outfit on the Solon's General Store, or whatever they really want to do, which is a pretty good thing. This gives them a reason not to sell this to gold farmers, which is illegal. And kind of will help people, will help Jagex and everything, which is a very good thing in my opinion. I think that you guys will agree on that as well. There's also those who buy gold from gold farmers, which is another kind of thing that's a very big issue, which is kind of one of the reasons Jagex is implementing this. And that's basically that, okay, let's say that one player wants to get 10 million GP for whatever reason, so they buy this from a gold farmer and they have this money. And what this does is that it implements 10 million GP into the RuneScape economy, because gold farmers who have this kind of money sells this to players who are playing the game actively, which use this in the economy, which implements more money into the economy, which is not good at all. So what Jagex did here was that they sold the bonds on the website, and when people buy these bonds and want the money, they can just buy bonds and sell it on. And what happens here is that the player who wants the money gets the money from buying some item on the Runescape website, which is basically, well, kind of in a way Jagex selling gold, but it's not Jagex implementing more gold. They're not generating more gold into the economy, which is what gold farmers are doing, which you can't in a way save the economy, and I'm gonna back to that soon as well. But back to this player who has sold his bonds. He gets his money which he wanted to, and is very happy about that. But the money here he gets is not new money. It's money that's already in the game from other players, richer players who buy bonds from less rich players. The less rich player get the money who's already in the game from more rich players. And what that helps with the economy is that at the moment the economy is in a curve kind of thing, like the 90% of players have somewhat the same wealth between, I think it's like 0 GP and 1 billion GP, that's just my guess, I'm not gonna say that for sure, but it's just an example. And the last 10% remaining active players have the rest of the wealth of RuneScape. It just shoots up like a rocket, the very last 10%, because a lot of people have this kind of wealth. So what this does is that when richer players buys bonds from less rich players, the economy will scale out. The less rich players will get more money, and the richer players will get less money. And it will, instead of being like a sliding kind of curve thing in the kind of, how can I say, the graph, I can say, they will line out and the economy will rebalance. And what this will help for, including the removal of bots, the resources will go back up. The money making methods will be worth it again. Like at the moment, it's not even worth saving your fish when doing fishing, or mining, or woodcutting, or whatever, because you don't earn that much money on. But what this will do is that the prices will go back up, and players who want to can again woodcut or fish or mine or do whatever in order to get money, because it will be worth it now. Of course, a lot of players only see the negatives here. They see that, okay, this is a form for players to gain money, but if you take a kind of a look at the very big picture here, you have two choices with this. You can either be Jagex kind of removing wealth from other players to give it to the less poor players who want the money, because they're selling these bonds to give the richer players something back as well, either for charity or membership or whatever it might be, which balances everything. No new money is generated into the game, the economy will be saved. It's also a money sink, because let's say that a player wants to sell the bond again, and well, they buy the bond and give it to another player, and this other player wants to sell it on, and they have to pay a somewhat of a fee in order to sell it on to this, which means that money will be going out of the kind of system and the economy instead of going into it. So people will still be money making and doing frost dragons or whatever for the money. The bots won't be getting anything because they're not in the game basically, and they're not getting any money. So the only money implemented into the game is what the players make, but that would also be removed again in the form of bonds and people selling the bonds. And how much is being removed is totally up to players and demand for the bonds, because of the grand exchange price. I think it's 10% of the grand exchange price which is removed, which is, it's a huge thing, and money are going out and money are coming in, which will stabilize the economy and make it better. And you know, this is not something that's going to change overnight. You know, we won't see a change of this like tomorrow or next week, but in the long run, in a few months, we will see this actually working. We will see how the economy is building itself up, how it's getting better, and how it's changing for something that's good. And I agree with players who are not happy with this in a way that Jagex, or in a way kind of selling gold, but at the same time, as I said, they're not really selling gold. They're just taking away money from richer players and give it to the poor, like Robin Hood kind of thing, basically. And the richer players will get something in exchange as well. No new money is generated and everything, so it's a good form of gold selling. And it's not necessarily gold selling, and it's not direct gold selling either. They're not like putting something up on like Solomon Server and say like 200 rune coins gets you 10 million GP. And that will never ever happen. That never gonna happen. And I'll tell you, that was one of the options for solving gold farming, because if you think about it, what are the options to actually solve gold farming in this game? You can ban half of the active players in the game at the moment. I know those numbers are incredible, and I don't really believe it that much myself, because it's just a so high number. But assuming it's the correct one, like, they didn't even have to mention that if it's fake, so why did they mention that? And let's say that still there's a lot of players gold farming, buying gold, selling gold, whatever, and if Jagex were to ban half of this, they would go bankrupt. They would lose over 100,000 people who's paying for the game, which is a dangerous kind of thing for the game, and I don't think that normal people would want that either, to see the game kind of just removing tons. And I think that there's less people quitting because of the bonds than there's people who would get permanently banned because of their gold selling habits. And Jagex will continue to ban gold farmers now, who are still kind of selling gold or buying gold or whatever. Like, if they don't like use the bond system, or if they want more money and they want to buy gold, and they don't use the bond system instead, and they just kind of buy it from the gold farmers, so they will get banned, they will lose their wealth, and they will still get warnings. And I know that Jagex will be kind of continuing on this, kind of pursuing, well, not pursuing, I'm not sure if that's the right word, but they will be pushing it on, tell people that, hey, I know you're gold farming, you shouldn't do that, I'm gonna take away this money, and if you do it again, I'm gonna ban you, basically. I think that's how they're gonna do it. And that's a good way, because the numbers of people gold farming at the moment who are kind of buying gold or whatever, it will drop drastically. At the moment, there's 150 to 170 billion money every single day being traded around in Runescape. And this will drop as well, because no new money are being generated into the game. So this new money, 150 to 170 billion GP, are being implemented every day to the game by gold farmers. But the bond system will solve exactly that. And I know another issue is gold farmers selling the bonds, which is of course a huge issue as well. But then again, you have to see on the bigger picture here, because how this will work is that, okay, gold farmers will sell it for a cheaper price, fair enough. But let's say a player gets this and he decides that, hey, I want to sell this to another player, but what he has to do is that he have to pay this kind of tax in order to sell it on, which will make him lose a little bit of money here. You know, he bought it and he will sell it again, plus the money after you implement on the tax kind of bit, so we'll lose a bit of money, which means that he possibly have to sell it for a higher price than what someone would actually buy it for, which means that he would probably lose money on this. And if he don't, and if he gets some more profit on it, Jagex will catch it up on this, take away his money and ban him eventually, which is how gold farming will eventually die out. You know, bots and gold farming will always be in the game. It will never completely go out, but I do believe this will drastically not remove, but declaim it will go drastically down, basically. And I think that's an attempt they will go for, and that's a really good idea. And I think you mentioned that one of the options were to ban half of the player base. The other option would be to sell gold themselves for cheaper price than gold farmers. And if you can think of this, like, would you want a bunch of players, thousands of players, buying gold illegally from gold farming sites? Or would you have Jagex selling gold themselves, basically? Or would you ban half the player base? Imagine half your friends kind of just disappearing, or half the player base just being removed. Like 50,000 people online, it would go to 25k. 25k people online would go to 10k. It's a lot of players, people, and I don't really want that myself, and I think that this is a good resolution for that. So I think this is a very good solution, and I can understand this being a hard decision for Jagex as well. If you, like, imagine yourself in this, like, what would you do, to be honest? Like, fair enough, they're going to warn these players now. Like, I don't really believe that they have kind of been doing the best job on this in the past. Like, if 40% to 50% actually do gold farm, they can impossibly think that they might get caught for this, which is kind of the big issue in my opinion. But I think that if they can keep on to push this on and say that, hey, we're gonna ban you if you keep on doing this, the numbers will drop, the bonds will help it drop as well. So that's just what I think, and that's just my opinion on this, and I think that you guys will understand and agree on most part of this. And if you don't, please let me know why you don't agree on this and why you think that it's a bad idea. And I've explained everything that I can explain now, and hopefully you understand better why bonds is implemented into the game and how it will help the community and eventually the economy as well. So let me know in the comment section below what you think about bonds and the update in general. If you have any questions, put them in the comment section and I'll try to answer them if you know the answer to it. You should also read the post by my Jack Mob on the bonds forums, as well as by ModMG and everything. And I think this is a really good update, people, and I really want you all to understand that as well and agree with that, because even though some parts of it look really bad, it's nothing that would change the economy. It's nothing that you guys will be affected by as well. Because if you consider this, the evolution of combat was something that people raged about, but that was because, well, not just because, but was an including factor there was that people had to be playing it. You didn't really have a choice. You had to be using it. Yelps was a bad thing because people could buy XP and was basically pay to win kind of thing. And people didn't like that either, because other people would get a massive boost, and that would be XP and GP implemented into the game, would be new money generated into the game, and I don't like that at all. But what the bonds do is something that will save the economy, that will remove money and won't implement anything new at all whatsoever, which is something I think is good. And if you don't like it, you don't have to use it. You won't be affected by it, other than the economy being better in the future. And I think that's a really good thing, and I really hope that a lot of you will understand that and agree with that. So another kind of factor about that is kind of how it's pay to win kind of thing, and partly, yeah, I agree with that. People can now buy, technically buy GP if they need that, but at the same time we do have those who, you still have to kind of fight for your kind of XP and such. Just, you can't technically buy XP, even though you could do Yelps and everything, though that would take forever. And it would be super expensive in that case, but you know, you can't still have, you still have to work for your levels, I guess, and that's something, I guess, you know, if you have the money, you can technically buy armor, or you can buy whatever, which is not something I support, but in the big picture, it's going to get better, in the future, it's going to get better, so I think it's something I can survive with. Well, yeah, guys, let me know in the comment section what you think about bonds. My name is Will Miss It, and I'll see you guys later.